Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Mad Canada.
Hey everybody, how are you doing? It's your boy DC, Thursday night host of Rogers Out of the Fog.
Right, you kind of got to make your own fun.
Yeah.
Which was a transition for me going into the morning show here.
Proud. Keep doing the amazing work, will you?
They're learning about how to hire people.
20 years of local matter, so join me every Thursday night and see what's going on in the fog.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel. On today's episode, we are going to be joined by the President and CEO of Rogers Communications, Tony Staffieri, as well as getting to sit down and talk to Lisa Faye, who is the Executive Director of the St. John Status of Women's Council. It's going to be a very informative and fun episode, so sit back, relax, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by Mr. Tony Staffieri, who is the President and CEO of Rogers Communications. Tony, thanks for joining me.
Laurabel, it's good to be here.
I'm really excited to have you here, and this is not your first time on the island, but I'm excited to find out how the island's been treating you since you came in.
It's been terrific. The weather's been great. It's always good to be back on the rock. The last time I was here was back in May, and had great weather then, so I'm on a streak here.
Okay, so we're keeping you around permanently then for this whole good weather thing we're doing, right?
As long as it's good weather, I'm staying.
Okay, so for a lot of our viewers might not know, but it's been about 6 months between the big merger between Rogers and Shaw Communications. So what has been, would you say, the most difficult part about joining two media giants together?
Well, they're big companies, but I always say we're the biggest small businesses, and we were both family companies, both Rogers and Shaw. And so our DNA is very similar. So having them come together is easier than you would think for the size of the two companies. I've got to say, in my role, it's a real honor and privilege to bring together these two family companies that J.R. Shaw and Ted Rogers started about 60 years ago. And so now putting them together, the first 6 months has gone better than we expected. We're ahead of schedule on the integration. Customers are loving the brand out west. And as we look across the nation, now we're truly national, all the way from Newfoundland to BC.
Okay, it's glad to know that Rogers is now the official national brand for Canada. So Shaw was a big investment on Rogers' part. So what would you say when you look at Newfoundland specifically? How do you see yourselves investing into Newfoundland and Labrador?
Well, as you said, we're a national company, and we operate in a number of different regions, and every single region is growing. Here in Canada, because of population growth, we're seeing opportunity across the board. And so what we're going to do is double down our investments in networks in every single region, and that includes Newfoundland as well. And so what we're doing is putting money in fiber, just on Bell Island. We're doing Humber, a few other communities this year that we're finishing up. We're going to be adding a lot more cell towers throughout so that we continue to improve our coverage. And so you should expect us to continue to invest in our networks, but also in our media assets. We're really proud of our media assets here. You know, we have TV stations just like this one and terrific shows. We've got Hudson and Rex, which is one we're proud of as well, that's shot in the community here. And so we'll just continue to invest in every region, but importantly here in Newfoundland.
So on that train of investment, but a little bit about weather too, we're just coming back on what would be the 1-year anniversary of Fiona. So we saw the devastation that caused for a lot of people out west. So what would you say Rogers learned in terms of service provision when something like that occurs?
Yeah, the big lesson for us is, and it really ties to the broader issue of climate change. I'm convinced that the intensity and the frequency of these storms are going to only increase, whether it's ice and snow here, forest fires in other parts of the nation. And the role Rogers can play is bringing the best and latest technology to them. And so, for example, a few weeks ago, we announced our plan and our assistance to help prevent, detect, and forest fires, and help first responders make sure that they stay connected. And so, we launched, and we're testing it in BC, and we're going to spread it across the country. But we're putting on top of each of our cell towers AI cameras that'll detect smoke up to 20 kilometers away, and they're going to be connected to the SpaceX satellite, who is our partner in communications. We're also putting sensors in the ground so that those sensors will know the temperature of the ground, how the moisture of the ground, wind patterns, so that way first responders know where to target, what the likely hotspot areas are going to be. And then the other thing we're doing is putting out their satellite phones. And as part of the work we're doing with SpaceX, by next spring, you'll be able, whenever the cell tower is not available or goes down, then you're going to be able to use your cell phone, just the regular cell phone that you have today, and it's going to automatically connect to SpaceX satellite. And so, being a national company, we're going to be able to blanket the entire nation, doesn't matter where you are, how remote it is. And this one's going to be important for places like Newfoundland, because there are a lot of northern areas, highways that aren't covered today, that are going to be blanketed with satellite coverage.
I'm really glad to hear that, because I live here, and I've driven across the province, and there's a great big sign as you're heading into Harbor Breton that says, if you don't have gas, stop to fill out now, because there isn't cell phone service through that highway. So I know this is going to mean so much to so many people who struggle without cell phone reception. Yeah,
it's going to be a game changer.
Absolutely.
And so, the forest fire is one example here, more specifically relating to ice and snowstorms. We're working on and developing technology, again, that'll be connected to satellite and together with the hydropower company here, so that it will monitor, the technology and the AI will monitor the stress on the power lines. So the power company will have a good sense well in advance as to not only which lines are going to break, but most likely what are the areas that they should target to either clear the trees, clear the ice, or whatever it's going to be. And so that's the role we're playing.
This is going to mean so much to so many people, increasing the level of safety they find while staying in their own communities. So a little bit away from winter, which is coming anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about the good weather that happens to come with the Royal St. John's Regatta. So Rogers has been a sponsor for the regatta for many years. Is that something you see us continuing in the future?
Very much so. We've already renewed our sponsorship for next year. We had great weather this year. Looking forward to another good day next year. And I promised a bunch of folks I was going to take them to Kitty Vitty for some beer. So we got obligations. Okay,
so I'm going to give you the same question I gave everyone who sat down with me during the regatta. If we were to put in a team to row in the regatta, Tony, are you down to row?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So we will continue on our rowing team for everyone who's watching. We are building a star lineup for next year's regatta, so make sure to check in. So community initiatives are something that seems to be very close to Rogers' heart and the whole spirit, the way the organization operates. Are there any other community initiatives you see Rogers partnering in?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're committed to the province, committed to the community, and so what you'll see us other than, or on top of, I should say, the Ted Rogers community grants that we do for a number of events, you'll continue to see us at St. John's Pride. The Mount Pearl event is one that we're proud of, and we've talked about the regatta So absolutely, we'll continue to be there, and not only those events, but other events throughout the community.
So it's glad to know, because a lot of people know and love Rogers as seeing them not just as the station they watch or the people that handle their phone services, but are made up of community members. So it's great to hear that this is something that's continuing to flow through the entire organization. So besides community initiatives, we've talked a little bit about new technology, great things you have coming up. Are there any other new innovations that Newfoundlanders and Labradorians would be excited to hear about?
I think beyond the technology side, the other piece that we're really focused on is how do we continue to improve pricing and bring better affordability across the nation. And so there are a number of things we've been doing on that front over the last 6 months. We've reduced prices on the Rogers plans, double the data, all that type of stuff. We've expanded our Connected for Success program, which for deserving Canadians allows them to get not only low-priced internet, but now we've expanded it to include wireless. And so there's low-price wireless. And so, for a family that could use the help, between the two of them, they're low-priced. They become very popular nationally, and we've deployed that here in Newfoundland as well. So, this agenda of how do we just bring more value to Canadians every single day is one we're focused on. And so that was one. 2 weeks ago, we launched the Rogers Red MasterCard, the new MasterCard. Let me see if I got mine here.
Okay, have the numbers.
They're gonna like this. There you go. So buy the phone, your new phone on the card, and you can make the payments over 4 years instead of only 2 years at zero interest. And so therefore it cuts your monthly payment in half. So it's one neat little innovative feature that is always focused on just more value for Canadians, more value.
So we mentioned a little bit about the cutest pup in town, who is also part of the duo Hudson and Rex, which Rogers is behind. Is there anything you can tell us about continuing to partner with local programming to keep Hudson and Rex on our screens?
Well, you can count on us to continue to partner. We are so proud of the show, of the cast, of what it does for the community. I missed Rex on this trip. We passed each other in the air. He's debuting on one of our other TV stations back in Toronto today. But I always say my next life, I want to be Rex and get to fly first class from city to city. We're extremely proud. So we just launched recently and aired the new season. And you can expect us to continue to be there for something we're really proud of. I was talking to someone earlier today, and they mentioned to me they were in Poland. #1 show in English is Hudson and Rex in Poland. And then later someone told me it does well throughout Europe. And so as a Canadian, really, really proud of that.
As a Newfoundlander, I am extra proud of that, to get to know that our scenery is seen all over the world and people are falling in love with our culture just the same way. Now, before I let you go, this is your chance to let our viewers know anything you would want them to know about what's going on at Rogers, what they can hope to expect, or if you want to give them a taste of who you are, what would you like them to know?
Well, I think you should know that we're committed. We're committed to Newfoundland. We're committed to our customers. Every day we show up trying to do better and earn customers' trust and business. That's what we're all about. I meant what I said earlier. We really do see ourselves as a family company, and customers are our family. I know it sounds a bit canned, but we really do think about it that way. And so it drives everything we do. We're really proud to be here in the province and to be a proud member of the community.
I want to thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me, Tony.
Laurabel, thank you.
And we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. And after a quick outfit change, we are now joined by the Executive Director of the St. John Status of Women's Council, Ms. Lisa Faye.
Hello.
I'm so glad to have you here. You and I are well acquainted, but I want our viewers to get to know a little bit about who you are and what exactly the St. John Status of Women's Council is.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
So what exactly is the Women's Council and what kind of work do you guys do within the community?
So the St. John Status Women Council is a bit of everything, if I'm honest. We have lots of different programs. Some of the ones that we're most proud of is our supportive housing. Housing has been a major issue that we keep talking about in our city for good reason. And our supportive housing works with people who may have struggled to obtain housing and to maintain housing in their lives for various reasons. And we work with them over the course of 3 years to create the life that they want, to help to build up the skills that they want in order to get the housing that they need and to maintain it. We also have the Women's Center, which is also a bit of everything. That's where people can access free counseling services. We have a tea time, which also helps people to get the other services that they need. We have a free boutique there where you can make an appointment and come down and get some clothes. All kinds of things happen there, and people are always welcome to call and request what they need. We also have the Safe Harbor Outreach Project, which offers support to sex workers in the community, all kinds of things to make their work as safe as possible. And then we have our Managed Alcohol Program, which works with people who use alcohol and helps them to maintain as safe a life as they can have while they continue to do that.
Wow, so it's basically a catch-all for people in the community. So for women and gender diverse individuals, or is it strictly just women?
We do serve women and non-binary people in our community. We don't ask people's gender when they come to the door. That's up to them to share. So people can come and get the services that they need, but we focus on serving women and non-binary people.
So with your community housing, so what is it like? So if someone says, I'm experiencing homelessness, how do they gain support from the Women's Center?
Yeah, well, because there's a housing crisis in the city, we are unfortunately almost always full. It's very infrequently, and since people leave every 3 years, it's very infrequently we have an empty apartment. But what we do is we often will put out a call for applications to live in our housing. And the housing is really for people who have set some goals in their lives, and we help them to move towards that. I might give an example of someone who lives with social anxiety or someone who lives with psychosis. We help them to make a plan towards getting the medication they need on a regular basis in order to take care of their mental health. Someone with social anxiety, for example, we might help them to go to the grocery store together the first time. And then the next time we go and we wait for them outside. And the time after that, they're able to maybe give it a shot on their own. But we generally build plans with people over time to get to the point where living and thriving in our community is a reality for them, because we all deserve that.
Oh my goodness, so it's not just providing housing, but providing the full wraparound to make sure they're successful when they leave in 3 years.
Exactly, so we always say that it's a program that offers you a roof as part of it, because we do believe in the Housing First model. And Housing First says that once you have a safe place to call home, once you can be warm when you're sleeping at night, once you have a roof over your head, once you can lock your door, then the rest of it can be steps that you can take. But until you have that, it's very hard to take the next steps in the other areas of your life.
Wow, that's so true, especially as we're seeing in the current housing crisis. It's beginning to affect the way people are able to gain employment, just being able to function in the life day to day. So you also mentioned that the Women's Center specifically offers things like the free boutique and tea time. What is the belief system behind those?
Again, it's this piece where people just need that little bit extra support in order to get to the next stage. So for example, people might come to tea time and we'll end up talking to them about Newfoundland Labrador housing. If you've ever seen the form that you have to fill out to get Newfoundland Labrador housing, it is intimidating.
Absolutely.
And through tea time, we'll sit down and we'll fill out the form with them. Wow. If people are new Canadians and they're trying to figure out how to deal with a work visa, we will sit down and talk them through the process. If we don't know it, we'll do the research. So you have these programs, but you come in for tea and next thing you know, you're working on getting housing. or you come in for a free boutique and you can talk about, what's going on with your resume and how you're looking for an outfit for a job interview. So the programs we have are there, and you can just come and have a cup of tea. We're not going to turn you down for that. You're always welcome. But it's also about making sure that you have those other pieces and creating a space for people to feel welcome to come in and go beyond the cup of tea if that's what they want as well.
Okay, so you mentioned the Safe Harbor Outreach Program. So what exactly is that? Because I know a lot of people, when they think sex work, they have a very specific thought process as to how that works. So what does Safe Harbor do?
So the Safe Harbor Outreach Project does exactly what sex workers in our community want. The big thing is to provide the tools and the supplies that they need in order to make their work more safe. This might include things like condoms. It might include things. It might also include sharing information about unsafe people in the community who are purchasing the work of sex workers. It might be about dancers in our city who want to talk about working conditions. It might be about people who work in massage parlors who would like to speak about how that's working and how they can keep themselves safer. Sometimes we have sexual health clinics or health clinics where people can come in and speak to a doctor, which we all know is really hard in today's healthcare economy. So it's really based on what sex workers in our community come to us and tell us that they want. And then we build those projects around it. In addition to that, we also advocate for the decriminalization of sex work. Right now, with it being criminal to purchase sex work, it can make it really difficult for sex workers to keep themselves safe. So we advocate alongside sex workers for that.
How do you guys handle all the stigma surrounding the very important work that you do in creating safety for a marginalized community?
It's difficult. What I'm really reminded, though, is that it's easier for us as people with our privilege and people who have this space and who have this platform to be able to speak up. When you're a sex worker yourself, maybe you have children, maybe you're also a teacher, maybe you're someone's grandma. It can be more difficult to speak up for your rights when you're busy working at what you're doing, when you're the one facing the stigma. Recently, we published an article that was written by sex workers in our community, but we were able to publish it under our name because we do have a space of safety and privilege. And it can be much more difficult for other people to speak out. If you're already worried about if a landlord's going to give you a home, it's hard to speak up about the lack of housing. But we're in a space now where we hear those voices every day, and we can share the messages that we're getting as well.
Before I let you go, I really want to hear a little bit more about your managed alcohol program, because I know that is a first for our city. So what is that like?
Yes, I think our managed alcohol program is probably, it's an amazing program. What it's for is people who use substances like alcohol, who might need other supports around them. So people, again, who use alcohol, it's often because they need to build community, or maybe they are looking for housing. But we want to make sure that they have access to the substance that they need, and we do provide people with alcohol based on a doctor's recommended dose so that they don't face things like seizures, so that they can take care of their other needs like buying groceries. We help them, again, we help to build a plan with them for what they want to see in their life. And we don't just look at them as people who use a substance, because oftentimes people who use substances, whether that be alcohol or whether that be another drug, can be stigmatized and can be thought of as people who are their substance use. We look at people as a whole, and we look at their needs beyond that, and we try to understand how we can help them to reach their goals.
So for our viewers watching and listening right now, if they wanted to find out more about what the Women's Council is doing, how to get in touch with the Women's Center specifically, where can they find you?
Yeah, I really encourage people to give us a call. We're at 709-753-0220. On our website, you can get all of the information that we have as well. But if you're hearing about everything we do and there's something that you think we could be doing more, we're always open to that too. What we want to do is serve women and non-binary people in our community with what they need. So give us a call and let us know what you're looking for. And we're really excited to continue to work with the community and, yeah, to build safety for everyone.
And if the community wants to support you, because you guys are a charitable organization, what can they do?
Yes, so you can go on our website and donate there. We're on Canada Helps as well. you can also just send us a check, and we can send you a charitable receipt as well. But yes, the work is often underfunded, and every little bit does help. And we're excited to be part of it, and we're happy for any support. And volunteering is also open, so yes, please also drop by and consider that.
I want to thank you so much for joining me. Before we let our viewers go, if there's one thing you wanted them to know about you, the work you do, or the Women's Center and Council, what would it be?
The number one thing for me is that we're here for everyone. So I know that there's a lot of people who might not have walked through our doors ever, and I know that there's people who've been to 100 of our programs. But please know that for women and non-binary people in our community, we're here for you. And please, I think sometimes the hardest step can be walking through the door. The hardest step can be calling up and making a Zoom counseling appointment. But that first step is really important, and you're welcome here.
Lisa, I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing all this information with our viewers. I know it's definitely going to change someone's life today.
Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back, everyone. I want to thank you all for tuning in and joining me today, but I also want to give a very special thank you to our guest. Thank you, Tony, for taking time of his very busy schedule to share with us what his goals and plans are for the future of Rogers Communication and how committed they are to community. I also want to thank Lisa for joining me to talk about all the great work the St. John's Status of Women's Council is doing within the city and how you can get involved. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.
For 25 years, you've been helping to make our roads safer by doing the right thing. You've been the designated driver